So two super experts on the topics of how to drive lead gen. Michael obviously has a few more years under his belt than myself and Skylar. Skylar and I have both been here just about a year and a half now. So Michael's actually seen iGuide go from almost inception right up to where we are today, where we're, as we're just talking about in the comments, getting into construction and insurance and other things and growing away from our original real estate photography business. But I'll let them maybe just speak a little bit to their experience. Michael, you want to kick us off and tell us a little bit about your journey with iGuide and what experience you have in the industry?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I guess my background started with iGuide 8 years ago now. It's coming up on. And so it's been pretty exciting how we shifted. I mean, when we started off as a company, we were servicing the real estate agent directly in terms of providing photography and virtual tours, and the iGuide itself was our key product. And when I was brought on to join it, we were shifting that business model. And part of the reason why we started out that way is we really wanted to understand the customer and what they ultimately wanted. So that being the real estate professional, what they wanted to use the iGuide for, and how that spoke to the home, I guess, to the home buyer in terms of searching for a home, or the home seller, how it helped them to sell that home faster and for more. And so, and along the way, we've, seen our technology expand into other verticals and really communicating and understanding what that built world is. And so it could be for marketing and sales of a property, but really understanding it. And as we get into these other verticals in terms of maintaining and managing a property, in terms of facilities management, moving into architectural and design, really understanding as built space, and then really how do you transform that space for your future needs. And it's been pretty exciting to see this journey move along. We've definitely seen the growth in the real estate sector, and it's exciting to see that kind of pick back up this year in terms of both the markets in the US and Canada, and our technology being adopted more and more for home sales in these tougher markets and tougher times. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. We sort of talked about it this week, some of those top tips you had in terms of diving into getting connected to those realtors. So I'm really excited to hear you talk about that and share that with the audience. And then Skylar, although very humble, is also joining us today. He's a VP of marketing here, as I mentioned, but he's also an award-winning marketeer. He's worked in agencies and he has a breadth of experience. So he's got lots of great insights to share for anybody who has questions about how to really build yourself out as a brand, or what kind of unique aspects can you create for yourself in terms of a value prop or otherwise. So Skylar, do you want to do a quick little intro on yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thanks for having me, Charlene. Excited to be here and spend the next hour with all of you. Really getting into lead gen tactics that you're able to use within your business today to grow. Myself, I've been with Planetary and iGuide about a year and a half. Oversee the marketing motion within the business. So I actually spend a lot of my day-to-day focused on leads to try and get them into the sales team and into Michael's team. So I spend a lot of time on this. Prior to iGuide, have some scale-up experience, and then spent about a decade in the Toronto area at various marketing agencies, really with a background in PR communications and event marketing. So yeah, excited to have a conversation. Please use the chat as you guys see fit to include any questions or comments as we get through the content and material. We have a few slides that we'll talk to, but I'm really wanting to hone in on some examples, and Michael's going to take us through a couple real world examples you're able to use today to find realtors and agents in your area that you could go and target and try to expand your business with. But we will pull up the material, get into that, and then can have a further conversation.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, do you want to take the wheel? Do you want to share your screen and get us diving in? I think you've got a couple of slides there, and then you've also got a few web pages you wanted to talk about. But Essentially today, our agenda is really about setting you up for success. And then we want to look at helping you build your network and then also focus on how to strengthen those lead gen skills. So we're going to give you some practical advice, show you some hands-on tactics. And obviously it's open forum. Please use that chat. Any questions you have. Certainly there's never anything too small or too big to ask the team. We have the experts here, so let's take advantage of them.
All right. Sorry, I'm
That's okay.
just get this sharing.
It always takes a wee minute, doesn't it?
Well, flipping back and forth from Google to Teams to Zoom, always challenge here. So, okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see it yourselves?
Not quite yet. Do you want to? Let's see here.
You gotta. So I'm disabled. Sorry.
Okay. There we go.
All right.
Let's try that one more time.
And while Michael and Charlene get this brought up, I will highlight, so much of today's conversation, we are going to focus on growing within real estate, but we are trying to build out a series. So the conversation today will be very agent or realtor focused. So through the lens of all of you being real estate photographers, how can you grow and find agents? That doesn't mean that these aren't transferable skills. A lot of this you could carry over and use it to go and build and grow into the design build space, attract architects or go after general contractors. But what we will be looking to do with this series is actually craft another video and conversation that will be focused on the general contractor and that design build space. So more to come. This is the starting point. We'll focus the conversation really through the lens of agents and realtors.
All right.
All right.
Did you want to kick off the first slide here, Charlene, or do you want me to start with that?
No, Michael, honestly, this is your forte. This is where you're going to dive in and share your expertise. I want everybody to hear all the little tidbits and details we were talking about earlier this week, because I was really surprised. I mean, I work here at iGuide and we work obviously with realtors and real estate photographers every day, but I learned so much from you this week. So take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll try to handle this more as a conversation instead of a presentation style. We've got a few slides here that we'll kind of talk to, but I think we'll, definitely if there's questions that pop up during the presentation, feel free to ask them. I think, really what we're going to focus on today is the prospecting side and talk to, how do you go identify, find, and get new clients. And that's kind of really the key focus of today. And a lot of that starts, before you even start that prospecting is really setting yourself up for success. And what does that mean? It's setting up everything in your business really to go out and talk to those clients and be able to sell to those clients. So, I look at the 4 P's of marketing. You can argue that there's more than that, but, let's stick to the basics in terms of making sure that your product is right. And so for real estate photographers, it's making sure that you have a, built out a portfolio that you can share with clients, that you have a fact sheet and a sample sheet that you can share with those clients. And then you've refined your product to the process and delivering a quality, product that you want to deliver. And it might be targeted to, what kind of audience that you're going to go after. If it's, the everyday home versus, the luxury homes. And we can talk a little bit more of that in terms of when you're going to identify those clients. Pricing, making sure that you have your price sheet. You've done that competitive analysis. You've seen what your competitors are charging, what you're charging and what those offerings are and how you package those together. And really that allows you to maybe differentiate yourself, but also offer something that your clients may be looking for. So, for example, some of our clients have moved away from just offering photo only packages, and their starting package may include an iGuide and a photo package. And that's where they start. And so if you just want a photo package, they're going to say, you know what, sorry, we don't just offer that service unless it might be an existing listing that they have to go and maybe reshoot for some reason. So there's different ways of doing that. There's even operators within our network that offer only premium products, or they start off with the premium products. And so they're trading their customers up in terms of what they're offering because they're more of a luxury shooter. So this is, again, setting your pricing, your product, and the positioning of how you're going to go to market on that. So, and then really the next step is, building your network. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. It's, using your existing network, but then also how do you go and expand that network and getting in front of more customers, and then some of the basic lead gen skills that we'll touch on today. So, I think overall on this, we kind of touch on all these things. There's a lot of different things from the marketing aspect that you can do. Do you want to touch on this a little bit, Skylar, just before?
I'd be happy to. Yeah. So I think, before we get into the tactics, it's good to have just the groundwork or the framework in place. We see there's 5 pillars. Obviously there's plus and minuses to this, but really when I look at setting up your business and setting up yourself for success, the first thing you're going to look at is your image. So defining your voice, and that's your business's voice, tone, and the value. So to what Michael's getting into, really the 4 P's of marketing: product, place, price, and promotion. Your image is a part of that, and then how you want to be positioned within the market. So are you trying to reach a wide group of agents? Are you trying to have more of a niche, and maybe you go to luxury real estate and you're only looking to shoot for that? But spending some time defining your image is going to be important. It's going to be the single layer or single thread that's going to come across all of your interactions, from your corporate website to how you live on social media, to how you actually interact and engage with your customers, how you deliver your content. So it'll be the single thread and really a starting point for your business. And that'll include your company name. It could include your logo, your color choices. There's a variety of things that would fit within that first bucket of your image. The second piece that you'd want to look at is social media. So how are you actually trying to, I'm just getting some feedback, I think, from Michael.
Oh, sorry, I can hit you.
Perfect. So the social media is going to be the second aspect. In building your brand profile, your brand awareness within your market, you're going to want to position yourself in a way that agents are able to find you and brokerages are able to find you. We all spend a lot of our personal life on social media. A lot of folks spend a lot of time in their professional life also on social media, and it's a great way to engage, interact, and grow your business profile. So it's getting those social media accounts set up, getting your profile set up, and having a consistent experience between your website, your image, and your social media platforms. We've talked to it previously and at length. It can be an overwhelming place to start. You don't need to start with all the platforms. You can cherry pick a few that really resonate with your audience and will reach the most. So for you, that might be an Instagram page, and we're able to profile the work, profile your company, and even profile yourself and the face behind the camera. It might be Facebook, TikTok, but don't feel like you need to stretch yourself too thin. It's better to pick 1 or 2 channels, do them really well, start seeing that success and engagement, and then expand after that. The third pillar here is your website. So this is going to be your main platform that you're driving people to. So the goal of your social media channels will be to get folks and prospects to your website. And your website's going to be a place where you can highlight your services, highlight your value, what differentiates you from other photographers in your area. And then also it's going to act as your lead funnel. So there's going to be forms there, ways that prospect or agent is able to engage and contact you and start that sales process. So the website is going to be one of the main anchors that you're going to want, or cornerstones that you're going to want to have in place to highlight exactly who you are, what makes you unique, highlight your portfolio, include your services, potentially your pricing options, and then drive people to engage with you. The fourth pillar, the Google business profile. So it's relatively easy to set up. There are SEO benefits you're going to see once you have it in place, but spend the time to set up that Google business profile. You're able to send your customers there to actually encourage them to leave reviews. And it's a place that many will go to and evaluate when they're looking at real estate photographers in their area. There's really, it's a low cost initiative, but high value. So definitely spend some time, get your Google business profile set up and in place, and then maintain it. So as you have new content to highlight, new images to add, definitely include that there, and encourage those that you are working with that are happy with your services to leave their reviews and their rating. And then finally, as your business grows and you're starting to land customers, customer reviews are paramount. Regardless of the industry, regardless of what you're trying to sell, they have a ton of value. It's one thing for a business to talk about their own services, completely different for you to have customers that are happy with what you've delivered, and then actually have them on record and put their word out there. So definitely encourage customer reviews. You can reward existing customers if they will participate with customer stories or leave a testimonial. But something to continue to go after and try to drive. But really, this is kind of the framework that you'd want in place, and something that continue to be built out as your business grows. But where we'll spend more time is actually on some tactics now, understanding that this framework is in place. You've got a website. You've got a lead funnel or a form on your website that someone can provide their contact information, and we'll move into how you can actually drive those leads.
That's great, Skylar. Yeah, and I think a lot of these things help establish credibility, and that's a big thing. Is people don't know who you are. You're trying to establish credibility that you're the professional in this space, and a lot of these things will point back to you being a credible business and a provider in that as well. So I'm just going to jump in because the time is actually going by quite quickly, and I think the three big things when I think about prospecting, you're going to, again, we talked a little bit about who you're going to target. So what's that ideal customer profile that you're going to target? Are you going to focus on luxury? So like a lot of real estate professionals, they focus on, working with people who are downsizing, working with people who are condos only, specific areas. You can do the same thing with your business, and you can focus on specific customer types if you like. I know there's photographers in our area that focus just on luxury, or they're more architectural, or they do the everyday kind of customer for their market, and they maybe have specialty additional services as well. As what I've seen, I think the big change that I've seen in the industry over the last 8 years is that everybody was a real estate photographer first and foremost. Now a lot of our customers and a lot of you who are out there are now content creators. You're a media company. You're offering video, you're offering drone, you're offering iGuide floor plans, and not just photos. Photos still are that key thing, that one of the most important things that buyers are looking towards in terms of the photos. So it's still an important factor, and it does really convey kind of the quality of your work. But building that prospecting list is what I'll kind of jump into. I'll talk about how to reach out to those contacts once you've built that contact list of those prospects that you want to reach out to, of your ideal customer profile. And then just talk about follow-up and tenacity. Like, this is one of the things, it's kind of the third pillar of what I look at when I'm doing my reach outs, when my team's continually following up with customers. Tenacity it's one of the hardest things to do, because you feel like you're bugging people. But if you really believe in what you're offering and that you are a better solution and you're providing value, you have to look at it from that perspective, that you are, trying to provide value to your clients. One thing, as a real estate photographer, you are an extension of those photographer teams. And so this is a great opportunity for you to be a partner or a vendor partner for these real estate agents and clients. So let's talk about, how do I build a list? And I'm going to kind of flip to another slide here. Did it pop up in terms of?
Yeah. We can see your new screen.
Yeah. So one thing that's great about real estate professionals and agents and realtors is that all their information is public. Now, the tough thing is that there's a lot of people calling on them and wanting a bit of their time or a bit of their wallet. So that's the difficult side of it. But you can make a targeted list. You can find those customers. And I'll give you 3 quick tips in terms of ways to find customers today. One, the first one that I'll talk to is associations. Some associations, some MLSs will allow you to be a vendor partner, and they will, once you sign up with them, they will actually provide you a list of their agents within their services. And sometimes you can even market your services through those MLSs or those associations. Now, that's not in all markets. It's in some markets, but it's something that you should definitely look into, and also connect with the people at the association, just to be more cemented within that region and within that, I guess, that network of people that are out there. Other things you can do quickly are things that, I just pulled up, I did a Google search. You do Google search and who are the top agents in a specific area. And you can run through and see who these agents are in terms of, top areas, and, your specific area, who are the top agents in that area. And so this is also things going to looking at the brands themselves and seeing who are the top agents in those brands. Are any of those agents in your area? And do you want to focus on the top agents, or are you trying to focus on the everyday agent that's out there? One thing that I'll share with you that I've seen over the last 8 years, after looking at hundreds and hundreds of real estate photography companies, when their client lists are shared with me, you can go through and see that a lot of photography businesses are very similar. They have a majority, it's what we call Pareto's protocol, the 80-20 rule. A majority of their business is coming from a small percentage of the customers or clients that they have. So the 80-20 rule, 20% of their clients are doing 80% of the business. I've actually seen it as strong as 90-10, but it's kind of within that range. And you'll look at a lot of real estate photography businesses, and you may have looked at this yourselves. You'll have those clients that are maybe a couple of clients that are doing that 50 to 100 listings a year. You'll maybe have a bunch of clients that are doing that between that 5 to 25 listings a year. And that's your bread and butter in terms of the clients that you're dealing with and the ones that you want to keep in touch with and making sure that you are aligned with. But a lot of it is this long tail of hundreds of clients that come in and maybe do 1 or 2 listings a year with you. And those will be consistent in terms of every year. So it's a lot to manage in terms of how do you keep up with those clients and who do you go after. So key again is who are the people that are going to drive your business. That is a big thing. And one of the little tricks and tips I'll share with you today is just going to a simple website like realtor.com. You can go to realtor.com, click on this find realtors button right here. And I just do a check. You guys can see my screen. Everything's good.
Yeah,
We can.
perfect.
Thanks. Type in a zip code 90. I'll put in 210 because that's the one I know. And when you hit enter, you're going to get this list, pages and pages of all the realtors in that zip code. Yeah. And so what that tells you as you're going through is it gives you their name, tells you if they're a team or not, tells you what brokerage and brand they're working with, gives you a phone number and an email address. Easy to reach out and contact these people. What I really appreciate, though, is how many homes for sale and how many homes sold this year. So this gives you an idea of their activity range, of the homes they listed, and who's really moving the volume in that market. And it gives you an indicator, who should I be trying to work with? I could go down this list and you'll see agents that, maybe sold 5 and have 1 for sale. Well, maybe that's somebody I want to eventually reach out to, but where do I want to focus my time? Now, those top agents, of course, are going to be under more demand. They're going to be harder to get to, but this is really where you start to build your list and gives you business insights in terms of, who the clients are out there that are ideal clients to go after. Charlene, sorry, it sounded like you had a question or you had something to add.
No, I just love this. And I think it's awesome. So you've given us so much information, but I just want to pause for just a sec and talk about how do you talked a little bit about outreach. So like either Skylar yourself, like, I don't know, I'm great at photography. I'm amazing at capturing visuals and building things out and telling a story. how do I tell the story about my business to this realtor? What should I do? What do I need to think about? And like, what's the magic formula to get these guys to respond to me? Can I get your ideas on that? Because I think that's something everybody wants to know. And I know, as we talked about, that's transferable across any industry. So give me the magic, like, formula.
What's the secret, Michael?
Hey, yeah, exactly. I wish I knew. There's no silver bullet. It's a lot of hard work. I think the first thing that you need to do, and this kind of goes into the next step. So once you've built that list of customers that you want to go talk to,
Yeah.
how do you want to talk to them? I think that's
You got
kind of
it.
the real point. You know, what's your
Hit me.
elevator pitch? What,
Mhm.
you know, what is it that you're sharing in terms of why they should be working with you? And you need to say that elevator pitch needs to be practiced, refined, and focusing on the benefits, not the benefits to you, but the benefits to your clients. What do you bring to the table that, you know, helps them either, you know, win more listings? So let's think about, what are agents looking for? That's really going to be your indicator of what benefits, how you can help them. Well, I mean, the big things that I see that agents are looking for in every real estate trade show you go to NAR, you go to Inman, every second booth is more leads, how to get more leads. They're looking for leads, you know, clients to get to. How to win listings is another big one that comes up as well. You know, do your services help them to win that listing? The marketing that you're partnering with them to do and helping them to market those homes, that's going to be appealing to their client, who's the home seller. Can you help provide a package or a package that they can use in their listing presentation to win their listings? And then, you know, they want more referrals. So the more value that they bring to the table, or, you know, for their clients, helps them get those next referrals. So it's very similar to your business. How do you help them get referrals?
Well, I think an interesting point, when that agent lands their listing, majority of the time that home is going to sell, but the value of good marketing on that listing is actually for that agent to get their next referral, and it's as much about the highlighting the agent as it is about highlighting that property, but with the goal really of their next referral or their next listing. I think is some of the mindset when it comes to marketing of these properties.
100%. I think that's, you talk to a lot of the top agents that use our services, not just to plug iGuide, but what is one of the biggest things that the top agents like about iGuide? It's it's not the 3D tour, it's not all the lovely photos and stuff, it's the analytics. Why? Because they can turn around and show their clients what they did for them. Hey, you just paid me, a nice big commission check over, selling your home over the last month here. Days on market's a little longer. Previously, it was, days your home was selling, and you're all of a sudden your client is handing over money. How do you tuck your client in? Well, you turn around and you show them what I did for you. This is how I marketed your home. This is where I put your home and shared it online. This is how many people came in and viewed your home. And then the other things that you do too as well. But that analytics report, if you talk to all the top agents that use iGuide, what they do is they make sure they get that iGuide on all the search portals. They get as many views as possible. They share it on social media. It goes back to our basic steps that we talk here about iGuide. You stage your iGuide, you share it, and you show the value with the analytics. So those analytics are, one, something that they can use to get that next referral and tuck in their client, or two, use in a listing presentation. I think there's also pizzazz about showing like the 3D tour and the photos packages as well. And so can you put a little package together for your client and maybe tailor it specifically for them? Like, if you did do a shoot for your client, you're using their home that they actually sold, you're putting their analytics report in there, and you're giving them something tangible that they can take into their listing presentations. And believe it or not, a lot of agents are still printing materials to walk in to leave behind for their clients. So,
oh my gosh, yes, you're right. You're right. So, Skylar, give us a few digital tips here. Like Michael's talking about some of the print stuff. Can you talk about some of the digital stuff that we can do to help real estate agents differentiate themselves, or even create that package that Michael talked about?
Sure. And I mean, Michael, I'm getting feedback again.
Sure.
So you'll spend some time and you're going to want to gather up this list. And, as Michael's identified here, the list can be lengthy. There's, thousands and thousands of agents. So figure out how you can narrow it down, I think, as a starting point. But you're going to want to get this list into some sort of format. So you're going to put it either typically into a CSV or an Excel file that then you're able to load into some sort of email marketing solution. So there are high-end CRMs. You don't need a high-end CRM to get started.
Okay. Pause. What's a CRM? Just for anybody who doesn't know, I just want to make sure we're not using marketing terms.
Sorry,
and then maybe
so that's
a couple
good.
of examples.
Yeah, so a CRM is essentially a client management system. It's going to be a HubSpot. It could be a Salesforce. There are tools like Insightly. It's essentially just a database where you're able to load both prospects and existing clients into that. Then you're able to manage that ongoing sales process and relationship. But this can be as simple as a Excel spreadsheet of agents you've identified in your region or area based on whatever criteria or parameter that you're trying to go after.
Mm-hmm.
And then from an outreach perspective, it's great. You've pulled together this list and you're ready to start actually engaging and outreaching to them. Typically, that's going to be done through a mix of email, social media, and phone calls. In the marketing world, we call it a sequence, but it's just a set of structured steps over a number of days with the goal of trying to get them engaged in a conversation with you. So there is going to be some email content, and I think we're going as far as Charlene's going to help put together some content in a template, essentially, that'll be on our help center as a resource that you're able to use as a starting point for this messaging. So you're going to want to execute an email sequence. And again, this can be tracked in Excel. Typically, it's going to be over 2 to 3 weeks. And the number of touches or activity points that you're going to have over that period may range anywhere from 12 to potentially 18. To go back to Michael's first point around tenacity, it is important. They're not going to likely engage with you on the first email or your second phone call or your first DM on Instagram. And that's fine. Research will show that it typically takes between 7 to 9 touches or outreach activities before they'll engage, and they're going to either tell you no, they're happy with their current provider. They may tell you to get lost, and there will be a percent that actually are open to learning more, which is fantastic. And that's the nature of the beast. It's a bit grueling, but the activity will be an indicator of the success. So the more activity on the front end, the more success you'll have in terms of clients at the end. So yeah, you're going to want to develop this outreach cadence. You're going to want to focus on what makes you unique. Things, you may want to highlight sample work within that. Testimonial or quotes go a long way. If you have a customer story, that's fantastic. And if there's any sort of freemium or value add that you're able to incorporate with your outreach, the chances of success will increase dramatically. So, what could that look like? Think about your business, your skill set, potentially a headshot. Agents love, the idea of headshots. They use it across their marketing material. They're going to use it on their search portals. And you may be in here, and find one that could use a refresh. There's Carrie Lewis. If you look at her, it looks like she's got some resolution issues. It looks a bit stretched. It gives you a reason to reach out and actually start the conversation. And hey, Carrie, noticed, in Realtor, your profile could use a bit of an update. Would love to get you a new headshot with the correct, aspect ratio so that it's not stretched on the upload. Carrie might actually respond to that and go, you know what, I would love to get that updated. And actually, you can start that conversation. Michael, do you have anything you want to add to that piece?
Yeah, just be careful you don't insult them, right? But yeah, I mean, I think you can do this, what they call spray and pray, is pray that you're going to get, and you can do all these outreaches. Do not spam people. That's the worst thing you can do. I think what you want to do is try to be highly personalized. Look at the activity they're doing. Take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see what that agent is doing already online. Because you'll realize, oh, that they're using their own photography and they've got 20 listings. Maybe this is a great opportunity to get my foot in the door. Or the photography that they are doing is maybe not that terrific. Maybe you've seen them on an interview or on a social post and they're great on screen, but they never do a video introducing a home. And that's something that you could help them with. That's a great way to say, hey, you know what? I saw you on whatever this post and you're great on camera. I'd love to do your next listing with you and get you, introducing that home, because I think you would do such a wonderful job. And I think this would help you build your brand and get your, just it's something that you can share as well on social media. Don't forget, these agents are being told, so one little, I guess, focus or tech tip or professional tip I'd throw out there: read the stuff that agents are reading. Look at the stuff that Tom Ferry's telling the agents to do, because that's an indicator of what they're trying to, those problems that they're trying to solve and how they're going to go out and do stuff. Every one of these agents, from Gary Vee to Tom Ferry, is telling them put out more content, and they are struggling to put out content. You guys are content creators. You can help them get content to create. So there's different ways that you can add value. It's looking at those. It's looking at ways to be able to get your foot in the door, create a conversation, and take it to the next step. Your goal with this outreach program is not to win their business out of the gate. It's to start that conversation. It's baby steps. You want to start the conversation, then maybe do a trial, then maybe you win their business, right? So it's about moving it along, as opposed to not trying to get to the goal line. You want to move the football down the field and then get the touchdown.
And I can touch on through the lens of digital. So we've talked about sequences, touch points, what you may want to include in those emails. There's other things that you can do with this list. Sorry, Mike, I'm getting feedback again.
I wasn't quick.
There's other things. No problem. There's other things that you can do with this list. So I would say, phase one is getting a sequence in place. You can use a solution like Gmail. You can manage the calendar in Excel. That works beautifully and will definitely deliver what you need. Content in those emails, you're going to want to try and test to see what works. So you're going to run, you may use one step of emails, 3 emails for one prospect. You may try a different one with a different messaging in the other. What I will be mindful of or comment on before we move off emails: keep them short, typically under 100 words. Get to the point, be personable. They likely are going to load it on their phone before they're going to see it on desktop. So imagine, what that experience looks like. You're going to have 3 to 5 seconds as they scroll and scan that email to try to get their attention. But phase two, and what you can do as you move, down the marketing funnel with your business, is actually take that same list and get into things like targeting. So you can load it into different platforms like Meta or Google. And if you're doing any sort of paid advertising, you can target that same list with supplemental paid ads that they would see at the same time you're reaching out to them. Again, it's definitely a phase two. Don't feel like you have to do it out of the gates, but it is something that if you do fairly targeted and regional paid ads, it's not thousands of dollars to get off the ground, and it would be something that you could potentially look at to enhance your outbound efforts.
Yeah, I think, and just to that point, I think on the advertising side, you have Facebook or social advertising that's going to help you build your brand a little bit more and get you out in front of them. Those agents that are looking for, they have a listings come up. That's when they start looking for the solution. And if they don't have a photographer, what do? They Google it. So Google ad campaigns work for those people that don't have a vendor partner, or their photographer's too busy and can't get to them this week. So what do? They Google, I need a real estate photographer. Yeah. So that's a good tactical ad approach as well. If you have a little bit of money to spend on the ads, it gets you that business out of the gate. So, we talked about digital. We talked about, cold calling and having that script a little bit. We talked about email, reaching out in campaigns. Real estate agents and they're personable, they're people, they're out and about. And so I guess what you say is belly to belly sales. So getting out and getting in front of them is, I think, probably one of the best ways to engage with them. They're personal, they're easy to talk to, and then striking up a conversation with real estate professionals is not a difficult thing to do. So there's networking events, there's trade shows, there's association events, there's they're quite often at neighborhood events and stuff like that. So that's another way. And just even door knocking at local brokerages and stuff as well, offering up either presentations on value add things. Like I can give your, they have weekly meetings where they are doing training for their agents. You can offer up things like best practices for social media, best practices on how to market your listing, best practices. I'm using that as an example, but there's other things that you can offer up that really, you could share with those agents to help provide additional value and get your foot in the door and start those conversations.
Hey, you know what? One thing to tag on to that, Michael, because that's a great idea, is that a lot of these real estate agents, they're always having like internal workshops and otherwise. So in office, like, let's get morale up, let's get people going. Offer to come in as a subject matter expert and talk about what you see as a real estate photographer is effective in creating great listings. So talk to them about how to stage a home, what sells best, the best lighting, time of day to book an appointment, those types of things. That's huge value to them. And then even as a takeaway, if you took something in that was just a one-page printable that said, here's a few ways that you can create social content fast and slick. One of my favorite things that I look at on social from some of the great content creators, you certainly see this on LinkedIn and a bit on Facebook, is creating those carousels. So you see carousels, I'm sorry, on Instagram, not Facebook, I apologize. But what you could do is do my favorite shots of the week, and you have 3 or 4 photos, and then the last slide in your carousel is how to get in touch with me. That's a great way to create quick and fast, dirty content. It'll maybe take you 5 minutes to create that carousel, so you don't have to put a lot of time into it. But little things like that, and then you also like putting your name out there, getting your branding there, taking selfies as you're doing a shoot, and just talking about how great it is, how you power up your day, what that looks like. So behind the scenes look and feel that just helps people relate to you, because everybody wants to connect socially with someone. So always make sure that when you're filming yourself, it's not you're from behind, but you also have your face directly. So you want to create eye contact in any of your social advertising. That's one thing that I notice people do. And I'm like, oh, it's such a common mistake that I just wish, they'd flip that camera around or flip their face around to really make the human connection. Do we have questions in the chat? We've got one here about pricing, I think. My gosh. Oh, a little off topic, but is there a way to see the estimated square footage after conducting a scan to verify with the realtor if they are satisfied with the size before finalize the pricing and sending it off to rendering? Okay. Oh, so doing a preview of what the size of the home is, so they're not locked into price. Michael, you showed me a couple of sites where you can see previously listed homes that would give you an accurate detail of the square footage, right?
I don't know if they would be accurate or not. So I think,
okay, sorry.
I think, sorry, not to contradict. I think you want to be careful of what's been used on previous listings. You're going in there as a measurement expert. You're measuring that home. So you want to make sure you don't know where that previous listing data came from. Is it tax data? How did they get it? What method of measurement did they use? We can do a whole other masterclass on measurements and the importance of measurements and the importance of the professionalism for an agent. So I think there's if you're trying to get a roundabout number or an estimate on the number, we have iGuide Preview that if you're doing the standard or premium iGuide, you could get that. If you upload from site, you would get a preview back. On there, you would have to use the on-screen measurement tool, and you could just do a general kind of outline of the house and get an estimated square footage of that home. It's a little bit of a hack, to be truthful, but it would be one way to quickly get kind of an estimated square footage of the home. And so
that would be a similar kind of path Michael, if they want to use iGuide Instant, for example, you're not going to get the total square feet. Again, you upload on site. You're going to get the iGuide back within about 5 minutes. You'll get room dimensions, so there's some manual calculation required. But Alex, to your question, if you wanted a quick turnaround to give you some sense, it'd be submitting that data on site and then either using Preview or Instant.
Yeah.
And Charlene, to your point, I mean, yeah, you could get an estimate off of what I mean, the MLS themselves, the realtor will have what was in the previous data, MLS data as well. So they have access to some of that data, so they'll have an estimate of kind of what the house is. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Sorry.
Oh, don't ever apologize. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is great. Are there more questions? I think maybe Michael and Skylar, give me your insights on where to find realtors on social. Which is the best platform to reach out to realtors?
I mean, you're going to see them where they're trying to reach their end customer, a seller or buyer. So typically, you're going to find them. Facebook remains one of the main platforms. Instagram is also one of the main. I would say probably the two between Facebook and Instagram are where you're going to reach majority. And then a fast follow would be TikTok. Content is very different on TikTok. The experience is very different. But there is a generation of agents that are on TikTok. They're posting a lot of user generated type content. More kind of brand building of the agent and less about their day-to-day listings. But I would say across those three, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are where you're going to find and reach majority of agents.
Yeah. If you want to, connect with them on a professional level, more of them are getting on LinkedIn as well. So that's also a way to just to make those connections as well. And then I think another way, it's not social, Charlene, but going and dialing in with the local association and understanding, knowing the people there, participating in some of the events that they put on as well is a great way to understand the market, get known, and it's also a way that you may be able to market yourself as well and your business.
That's awesome.
I want to highlight, we haven't touched on it. I think the last point here is one that we should just mention around, look at who else in your market is targeting the same group of agents. And this goes down the path of, it could be interior designers, it could be staging companies, but other businesses that are adjacent to what you're doing that you could work with. We would call it cross promote. So you promote their business and they help promote yours, but trying to drive some of these partnerships would definitely add value and be an opportunity to, again, further increase your brand and potentially reach agents that you're not working with today.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, if someone's a home stager, offering them photos or letting them use your photos from a listing that they've done, that might be a way to build a relationship with those people, and maybe even doing an iGuide so that they can share with their clients. Yeah. Hey, here's a before and after of this home. Take a walk through and see how different it does look. So.
Mm-hmm. I think even in those partnerships, agents love to save a few dollars. So even if you had a partnership and you gave that partner $50 off coupons or $20 off or added value, maybe you do a couple of social images or things like that kind of help that realtor differentiate themselves. That's a great way to add some value as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't really with partnerships, but we haven't really kind of talked about additional services that you can offer up. So I'm in the Toronto market. A lot of the homes in my neighborhood, if they're bought, there's going to be a remodel, there's going to be a renovation, there's something going to go on. And so right out of the gates, if you're scanning that home and understanding that you're scanning that home and you're doing a little additional scans and be a little bit more thorough, because you've got a gut feeling that this is, or the agent's going to tell you, yeah, this is most likely going to be a remodel. Yeah. You now have that data that's collected that, and what I'm seeing here is by going into open houses in my neighborhood now, several of the local photography companies that are using iGuide are offering this up. When I go in, the agent's saying, yeah, and if you're interested in the house, we can get the drawing packages and plans for you if you purchase the home. So what the real estate photography company has told the listing agent, if you do this and offer that up, it's a value add that you're offering to, sell that home. But additionally, I think there might be an opportunity there, give a deal on the next listing for that agent. If it's copacetic in your market, and then they can transfer that, or transfer your information along to that buyer agent, allowing them to do that. It might even be a listing gift, from the buyer agent. They pay for those updated drawings for their client instead of, and that's a ton of value that they can offer their clients as well. So I'm seeing that start to happen more, and it's additional services. And then if you're giving a deal on your agent's next, listing, you're making sure that they come back to you for their next listing.
That's awesome advice. Thanks, guys. I want to just check in with our audience. Does anybody have any questions, even if it's maybe not super specific as to what we're talking about today, but anything we can help with while you have our attention? Like, we're super happy to chat. As you can see, both Skylar and Michael and myself, we're all very passionate about what we do, not just iGuide, but also our individual industries and professional roles here. So marketing is certainly our jam. Sales is certainly our jam, but across the board, we love building relationships. So it's really important to us to hear how we can help. Does anybody have any ideas or things like that? Thanks, Alexander. I hope you have a good list of ideas. I'll follow up too, guys. So with all of our webinars, anytime you join, we always record them. We always share the deck out. So we'll share this PowerPoint presentation as well as a recording. And then any additional resources that maybe come up in conversation or that we may think that you might find helpful, we'll include that there. So always be sure, even if you can't make it, pop your name on the list, because it's great to just stay connected and make sure that we're providing you with the best content. Skylar, Michael, just as we're rounding out our conversation today, do you have any last minute ending thoughts that you want people to take away, or things that you want to make sure that everybody does, like your top tip? If they could do it tomorrow.
I think they could do it tomorrow. I boiled it down to three. I think if we could summarize this in three tips, it starts with getting your list built. So figuring out who you're trying to target and building that list, and use a variety of tools that Michael's highlighted to build your list. Secondly, meet them where they are. The third piece I would say is that to drive that engagement, it's going to need some tenacity and organization. Use the tools that you have available, whether it's an Excel file or whatever you deem fit. But remain consistent. Don't be afraid to play around and test your messaging, but then continue with that tenacity to drive it forward, and you will see success.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Michael, do you have anything that you want to add on to that? Because that's some pretty meaty content there, but I know from a sales perspective.
Skylar hit on all good points there. I think for me, just being consistent and keeping tenacity, and do what works for you. So what I mean by that, so one thing that I've heard over and over is, I've tried cold calling, it doesn't work. I've tried, emailing, it doesn't work. Well, it may be your approach, it may be how you're doing it, but all these tools are not a silver bullet. They do work with consistency. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you one little short story that I talked to an agent. I talked to a real estate photography company in Calgary. And so they told me specifically, we've tried cold calling, we've tried emailing. We can't get clients that way. It just doesn't work. We've been trying and trying. I literally, like 2 days later, spoke to another gentleman that was a new customer for us. And I'm like, oh, how did you build your business? He goes, he did Atomic Habits. I think it's Atomic Habits, where he literally took a marble out of a jar and put it into the empty jar and went through 100 marbles every day. And so he goes, I make 100 cold calls every morning. I get up and I make 100 cold calls. And that's how I built all my clients. Now, he also did tell me that he was new to the business and they lost a lot of clients, but he's been gaining more clients than losing. So he's like, does this every day. And it worked for him. So even in the same market where someone told me that it wasn't working, I turn around and I talk to somebody that it totally worked for them. So you got to do what works for you, but it is putting in the time. It is a lot of hard work and a lot of rejection. So, you got to have a little bit of a thick skin.
That's good advice. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us today. I hope everybody took something away. And as I said, I'm going to follow up with all of the details. Please be sure connect with Skylar and Michael on socials. You can find them both on LinkedIn. I can share that in our follow-up email, and follow iGuide for more tips. We also have our monthly newsletter that goes out that shares all of our latest resources, videos, blogs. Sometimes it's operator resources. I'll include that in our email as well. But we're really here to help you grow your business. So please engage with us, stay connected, and give us feedback on how we can help. We're always happy to hear it. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. I'll see you in your inbox tomorrow.
Thank
Have
you.
an awesome
Thanks,
one.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Skylar. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Skylar. Thanks, Charlene.